Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I am Tanvi Taneja. The Russia-Ukraine conflict remains at the center of global diplomacy. World leaders are stepping up efforts to push for direct talks and long-term security guarantees for Kiev. The spotlight is now on high-level talks in Europe and Washington, where strategies for peace are being mapped out. DD India's Rahul Upadhyay reports.
Ukraine's allies are doubling down on diplomatic and strategic support for its conflict with Russia. After a meeting with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz in Berlin, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney urged Moscow to accept Ukrainian President Zelensky's offer for direct talks.
President
Zelensky made it clear in Washington last week that he is prepared to sit down with Putin in the next few days. It is now up to Moscow. If the Russian president is serious about ending the killing, then he will accept the offer. If the Russian side fails to take this step, then more pressure will be needed.
Merz also emphasized that Europe and the United States are working closely with Kyiv to develop robust security guarantees that would empower Ukraine to defend itself over long term. Finnish president confirmed that a recent call between US Secretary Marco Rubio and his European counterparts focused on these guarantees, underscoring transatlantic unity despite nuanced differences in approach. However, US President Donald Trump expressed concerns over the lack of direct engagement between President Putin and Zelensky. Speaking during a meeting with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung, Trump warned of potential consequences if talks do not materialize soon.
Be very big consequences, but we'll see what happens. There might be very big consequences because this is something that has to end. This war would have never taken place, and for 4 years it didn't take place. But if I were president, this war would have never taken place.
Despite warnings from Washington, European nations remain steadfast in their support for Ukraine. Their coordinated efforts, ranging from sanctions to security guarantees, reflect a broader commitment to peace, sovereignty, and stability in the region. With inputs, Rahul Upadhyay for DD India.
On the sidelines of negotiations that sought to achieve peace in Ukraine, US and Russian government officials discussed several energy deals. Sources familiar with the talks said that these deals were put forward as incentives to encourage the Kremlin to agree to peace in Ukraine and also for the US to ease sanctions on Russia. There are also prospects of Russia purchasing US equipment for its LNG projects, such as Arctic LNG 2, which is under Western sanctions. Sources also said that there is a possibility of US-based oil and gas company ExxonMobil re-entering Russia's Sakhalin-1 oil and gas project. Lithuania's parliament on Tuesday confirmed Inga Rugiene as Prime Minister following the collapse of the previous government in July over a corruption scandal. Rugiene, who was Social Security Minister in the old government, vowed to continue supporting Ukraine and invest in the country's defense while seeking to reduce inequalities. But several thousand people staged a demonstration against the new government, with organizers accusing it of including politicians who oppose sanctions against Russia and Belarus, as well as anti-vaccine campaigners. Rugiene, a former trade union leader who is from the Lithuanian Social Democratic Party, the biggest in the ruling coalition, now has 15 days to put her cabinet and government program to a vote. In Britain, migration has surged back into political spotlight. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has branded the arrival of small boats as an invasion